A viral video captures a whisper from an empty room, ending in a shiver of static. A fisherman wakes up on a muddy bank holding a golden bell from a temple that hasn't existed for a century. Modern investigations into Bengal shadows often end with this kind of inexplicable evidence. These entities operate as moral prosecutors. In Bengali folklore, the spirit is bound to the site of a specific historical transgression, waiting for a chance to balance a ledger that was closed with a lie. To survive these encounters, you have to look past the terror and recognize a grim reality. The monster in the room was the original victim. The Chandipur lighthouse stands as a tower of salt and betrayal. Locals still speak of the night a crew of thieves slaughtered the keeper and his family for refusing to hide their stolen gold, casting the bodies into the surf. In North Kolkata, the Mukherjee mansion became a tomb for a different kind of sin. After a wealthy family falsely accused a servant of theft, leading to his suicide, the mansion seemingly absorbed his resentment, eventually claiming the entire Mukherjee bloodline in 1947. Even the Padma River holds its grudges. A greedy landlord once looted a sacred temple on these banks, only to be consumed by the water and transformed into a long-limbed guardian of the very treasures he tried to steal. In each case, the environment itself has recorded a moment of human greed and now uses it to hunt the living. Ritwik the filmmaker, Salmya the journalist, and Rahul the fisherman entered these spaces as modern skeptics. They brought cameras and logic, treating the local legends as content to be captured. They believed that documenting the unknown was the same as controlling it. They expected the ghosts to be passive subjects for their lenses. But the physics of the lighthouse didn't care for documentation. Inside the lantern room, a black mirror liquefies, physically pulling a photographer into its surface and replacing his reflection with a distorted mask of agony. At the Mukherjee mansion, the architecture itself fractures. The floorboards don't just break, they peel back to reveal a lightless void that seems to go on forever, stripping away any sense of a safe exit. And on the Padma, the silence of the river is broken by a hand, green, unnaturally elongated, and possessing enough strength to drag an entire fishing boat beneath the silt. Faced with these anomalies, logic fails. When modern curiosity meets a centuries-old curse, the investigators realize they aren't witnesses, they're prey. There is no record of anyone fighting their way out of these hauntings. Physical resistance consistently fails against entities not bound by biology. Escape requires engaging with a spirit's own pain. You don't defeat the entity, you acknowledge the trauma that created it. Inside the lighthouse mirror, Ritwik saw his own failures projected back at him. He survived by refusing to look away, forcing himself to reject the mirror's illusions, even as they threatened to crush his psyche. Rahul, pulled deep into the river, remembered the stories of the looted temple. He didn't fight the demon's grip. Instead, he used his last breath to ring a submerged ceremonial bell, offering the spirit a moment of the sacred peace it had lost. In the mansion, Soumya survived by listening. He found the family's diary, read the confession of their betrayal, and heeded the warning to flee, finally showing the respect the mansion had been denied for decades. In these stories, survival isn't a victory over the supernatural. It is a temporary pardon granted only to those who show enough humility to stop looking for answers. Once the survivors cross the threshold back into the light, the world resets. The physical evidence of the encounter begins to dissolve as quickly as it appeared. When Soumya looked back, the Mukherjee mansion was gone. In its place was a vacant, overgrown lot. City records show the house burned to the ground in 1947. The team had been standing in the wreckage of a memory. The Padma River returned to a state of absolute stillness, with no sign of the whirlpool or the titan that had nearly dragged Rahul under. We consume these stories as entertainment, but we are repeating the same mistake the investigators made. We are treating historical pain as something we can safely observe from a distance. The shadows of Bengal suggest that some wounds never heal, and some history cannot be rewritten. Escaping with your life is the only answer you're ever going to get.